Hey everyone! I'm so excited for this feature tonight. As you guys know, I have been talking about how I'm on this 2-week keto journey for the last almost 2 weeks now. It's been about a week and a half. And so I had a friend, Dr. Alexis Hugelmeyer, who actually has been prescribing this to patients for years. And she reached out to me right when I first started and said, was giving me some pointers and tips, and we just kind of got started talking about it. And I thought, and she actually brought it up. She's like, well, I could come on and talk about it to, everyone that you've been talking to. So I was like, this is like an awesome idea. I was super excited about it. I'm really excited to have her here tonight. But before we get into it, I did want to just tell you a little bit about her. And I am going to be reading a little bit just because I don't want to mess anything up. So she is Dr. Alexis. That's how I've been calling her the past couple of days. She's a board-certified family physician. She's got 10 years of experience in wellness and preventative medicine. And she is in the process right now of transforming her brick-and-mortar medical practice to a completely virtual platform so she can help a broader range of people. So welcome, Alexis. I'm extremely excited to have you tonight.
Thanks, Jen. It's been a long time since we've seen each other. So we go back all the way to high school.
We do.
Facebook, been able to stay in touch, and this is a really cool platform to be part of. So thank you. Thanks for having
me. I've never done the split screen thing either, so it's cool. So I had some questions for you because I've been talking. Well, the first question I have is I've been talking about keto for 2 weeks, but there's other names for keto, the ketogenic diet, or whatever. Can you explain a little bit about LCHF and exactly what it is and what it means?
Sure. So the ketogenic, or the low carb, I call it low carb healthy fat instead of low carb high fat, is a diet essentially that restricts your food choices to essentially protein, vegetables, and healthy fats. And the purpose of pursuing this type of food choice style is because your body uses sugar as its primary source of energy if there is sugar around. And so if there's constantly sugar around, your body will never get a chance to burn fat, which actually turns out to be a better source of energy. So if you minimize the amount of carbohydrates that are in your body will then start to use your fat as its primary source of energy. And so getting into a state of ketosis is a state where your body is actually using your fat stores and the available fat that's coming in from your diet as its primary source of energy. And like I said, a lot of people refer to it as LCHF, low carb, high fat. And while the majority of your calories are coming from fats, I want to emphasize that the diet should be called low carb, healthy fat, because it should not insinuate that you should be eating, bacon or, greasy foods all day long. It's really the healthy fat choices that drive the ketosis. Healthy fats being like your avocados, your coconut oil, your butter, that are naturally sourced and organic, good quality food. I think that's at the core of the diet, is that you're making clean food choices that are naturally sourced, meaning foods that are organically grown if possible, foods that are free from injected hormones or steroids or antibiotics. So focusing on the cleanest and healthiest food sources, and then from there, tailoring it down to just the meats, the proteins, the fats, and the vegetables.
Okay, awesome. No, that's helpful. Because, I've done Atkins in the past. I mean, it was like 17 years ago. So when I heard about this, I'm thinking, oh, it's just like Atkins.
Right.
I've read, it's a much cleaner way of doing it. So my son just decided to join us. It's a much cleaner way of eating. But still getting like the fat and all the stuff that you need.
Yeah, it really is a philosophy. It's not, and it's a lifestyle. If you read the books written by the experts, Dr. Jason Fung, who wrote the Obesity Code, is really kind of the leading figure on the ketogenic diet and why a fat-driven diet is healthier than a low fat or a low cholesterol diet. And I think that's really the point that he drives home, is that you're essentially eating the cleanest food you can. And in the right proportions, it can get your body into a really functional state, a very efficient state, which has so many health benefits.
So that actually goes right into my next question: is how does it actually work?
So like I was saying, your main dietary intake on this diet is going to be healthy fats. And so by eliminating or minimizing the amount of carbohydrates, starchy, sugary foods that you take into your body, you're driving your machine with fat, and therefore you're burning fat. You're burning fat as your main source of fuel. If your body has a constant supply of carbohydrates, it's going to use that first. And so ketosis is that state where you're basically driving your body with fat first. I always make the analogy, my patients have heard it a million times, but if you put Coca-Cola into your car's gas tank, your car is not only not going to run, it's probably going to break at some point in time. And essentially, over the last 100 to 150 years where our food sources have been industrialized, we're essentially eating foods that are created from science. They're not even necessarily real foods. And so the majority of foods that we're putting in our body that are purchased from the grocery store your body doesn't know what to do with it. Your body doesn't know how to break it down. Your body doesn't know how to digest it, let alone take nutrients from it, whatever minimal nutrients there are. And so your body gets confused, and like the car with Coca-Cola in its gas tank, our bodies start to break down. Now more than ever, we're seeing, autoimmune diseases, patients with gastrointestinal conditions, food sensitivities and allergies, more so than ever before. And it really kind of correlates with the rise in the industrialization and the automation of food, the process of making food. Whereas these conditions didn't really exist when people were just eating what was grown locally and what was grown fresh.
All of our lives, like we've been taught, like we should be eating more low-fat diets, or that if the cholesterol and fats are bad for us, like how are we supposed to, I guess, believe that like eating all this fat is actually good?
Right. So your cardiologist and people, your physicians have told you, you need to change your diet, you need to lose weight, you need to make these changes, your cholesterol is too high. First of all, cholesterol is one of the most critical building blocks for all of your necessary compounds in your body. It is the compound from which all of your hormones are derived. It helps in the process of making insulin, regulating your metabolism. And so we've been trained and brainwashed really to think that cholesterol is bad for you, and that you should be eating foods that are low in cholesterol. When in fact, if you suppress the amount of cholesterol in your body to a level where all of the formation of other hormones are impaired, then you're deregulating. You're essentially losing the building blocks in the construction of the hormones that will help you process fat and cholesterol and glucose, that will help you make insulin. So really we've been dramatically to one extreme in terms of low fat, low cholesterol, when in reality, you really need those. Just as a physiological example, when you're pregnant, your cholesterol will naturally go up because your body needs cholesterol to develop a healthy baby. So it's a perfect example of how the body really needs cholesterol. Now, the key with the low carb, healthy fat diet is that your total cholesterol may go up because you're taking in more cholesterol via the healthy fats, but with the appropriate distribution and eating the right types of food, your good cholesterol levels should rise, and that therefore your total cholesterol levels will rise, and your bad cholesterol levels should decrease. Your triglycerides, which are also like your fatty, the type of cholesterol that comes from your fatty foods, like your fried stuff, that should also go down on a low carb healthy fat diet as well. So the logic that fats and cholesterols are not good for you is actually not correct physiologically. And so a low fat or low cholesterol diet can actually drive hunger. It can drive appetite. It can drive inflammation. It can drive or burn out the production of insulin and drive the insulin resistance patterns that we're seeing. Obesity, insulin resistance, diabetes, heart disease. These are all conditions that are just increasing exponentially as people are making really improper food choices.
Yeah. No, those are really good points. And, I was thinking so we've talked about some of the things that maybe can be bad for us, but what about this is actually good for us? Like, what are the benefits of doing, and this is something I really want to know too, and I need to hear because I have been, I've been kind of on the struggle bus. I had a great day today, though, I will say.
Yeah.
Being on the struggle bus, it's hard to push back. Sometimes it can be really hard, to do everything the right way, the way you're supposed to do it, have the right ratios, which I want to talk to you about a little bit. But, what are the benefits? Because I think keeping our eye on the benefits of why we may want to do this will help get us through those like harder times.
Right. So when I first started my personal experience with the ketogenic diet, it was actually at the recommendation of my friend and acupuncturist, Michelle Iona, who swears by it. She recommends it for all of her patients as well. And I was resistant at first. I'm like, I'm Italian. How can I not, have bread occasionally? How can I not, put sugar in my coffee? I was really resistant. And so the first month was basically me making all kinds of mistakes and figuring out how it's supposed to go. So I will say that there's a really, really, really long and sometimes difficult process of just getting to be on the right track with low carb, healthy fat. So don't get frustrated. It's easy to, but after the first week, I would say at most, you really kind of go through that detox, that sugar. I don't like the word detox, but you really go through that kind of period where you're getting used to not having sugar and not having carbs, and the cravings go away. And that's when you start to feel the benefits. And physically, the way you feel, it will be your immediate first reward. And that comes in the form of improved energy. I mean, you've ever had that like feeling at 2:00 in the afternoon where you just can't keep your eyes open? I mean, I've yawned in front of my patients and I'm like embarrassed. I can't believe I just yawned in front of this person in a professional setting, but it was uncontrollable. There was just such profound fatigue that came after lunch, which was of course usually high carb. So the immediate feeling of improved energy comes with better sleep. It comes with improved focus and concentration, which is huge. And I started noticing that when I started drinking bulletproof coffee. Just the effect of the coconut oil, just really gave me this, not only this energy, but a clarity, like an improved focus. Like I felt like I could conquer the world. And I looked at my husband and I'm like, can this be? Like I just drank a cup of coffee like 20 minutes ago. That was like the first inclination. So focus, concentration, energy, appetite. The appetite suppression is, to the point where you really only eat when you're hungry. You're not snacking, you're not grazing, you don't feel like you need to eat 3 times a day. And along with that comes decreased bloating, abdominal. I mean, I can't tell you how many people come in and have absolutely no medical reason, I should say, to have bloating, gas, diarrhea, food sensitivities, other than the fact that they're putting in foods in their body that are creating these side effects, essentially. So the abdominal bloating goes down, sleep quality gets better, and your metabolism. The most important thing is that it drives your metabolism to move faster and to be more efficient at using fat and burning calories. So those I would say would be the most important reasons to do the ketogenic or low carb healthy fat diet.
It's funny that you mentioned like the carb crash after lunch, because now that you're bringing that up, I'm like, I have not had that one time since I started this. Like,
yeah,
you can say like I have not. Like I usually after lunch, I didn't eat a lot of carbs for lunch. I'd have like a sandwich thing or something,
right.
Or a whole wheat tortilla wrap. But I still felt that crash within like 20 minutes after eating.
Yeah.
I actually have not experienced that at all in the last week and a half. I didn't even notice that.
So the basic kind of effect that insulin has is that when you consume food, especially carbs, starchy foods, your body will produce insulin. Insulin will spike in response to the carb load that it's just received, and then your insulin level will plummet. And when your insulin level plummets after the carb meal has been digested or has been dealt with, that drop in insulin comes with hunger, fatigue, and so you're basically all day constantly going through this roller coaster of I'm hungry, I'm eating carbs, my insulin is spiking and then dropping. Now I'm tired and hungry again. And you're doing that all day long. So one of the physiologic effects of the low carb healthy fat diet is that your body doesn't cycle like that. Your body, your insulin production stabilizes and it kind of becomes more constant, so that your peaks in energy and your plateaus in energy, and your peaks of appetite and your plateaus of appetite, become more stable.
Now, is there anybody that maybe this isn't right, that who shouldn't be following this?
Yeah. So the most common question that I get is, well, my cholesterol is high. Should I be doing this? My cardiologist said I need to lower my cholesterol. I'm a diabetic. Should I be pursuing this? And people have heard the term ketoacidosis, which is a potentially deadly condition mostly in diabetics, where the body will produce so much ketones because insulin production is impaired, that your body will go into a state where it's negatively affected. This is mostly for diabetics. And so if you are a diabetic, if you are pregnant or breastfeeding, if you are a person with high blood pressure, then those are the reasons to really talk this plan over with your doctor before you start. The reason that patients with high blood pressure should be cautious is because when you regulate your insulin production, you can have lower blood pressure. And so if you're on blood pressure medication, your body is expecting your blood pressure to be high. And so when your blood pressure is not, blood pressure medicines can lower your blood pressure to a dangerous spot. So you really want to make sure. And then also, of course, patients with high blood pressure on this type of diet are oftentimes encouraged to drink, bouillon or bone broth, which can be salty. So those would be conditions, especially, diabetic patients with high blood pressure, patients who are pregnant or breastfeeding. Those would be the people that I would ask to really, really seek the advice of someone who is very experienced in prescribing low carb, healthy fat or ketogenic diet to determine whether it's right for you, and for some guidance, throughout, getting started and throughout the process.
And then one last question that I had, is because you know me, I like to work out a lot. Are there any side effects to working out? Should you be compensating by maybe eating more carbs or not eating more carbs, or does it really make a difference?
There are specific and different approaches. When I talk about low carb, healthy fat or the ketogenic diet, I'm talking about the basic, meal plan. Mm-hmm. There are various ways to incorporate intermittent fasting, to incorporate carb loading before exercise as an additional source of fuel. But I would say that that's probably only reserved for elite level athletes who, don't forget, your body needs carbohydrates to function. Your brain works off of glucose. So to not have any glucose in your body, it could be dangerous. And for people who are burning an exorbitant amount of calories, or who are needing and expending an exorbitant amount of energy, there's a very specific approach to it, and that sometimes can include carb loading. If you're trying to achieve weight loss or to help improve a medical condition with low carb, healthy fat, then I would say that you don't have to carb load. You don't have to fast either. Although intermittent fasting, essentially just allows your body to have a longer period of time to burn that fat without having any new input, any new source of fat to burn. So I would say there's really no downside. The most important thing I can say is that constipation is a side effect, and if you're not well hydrated, both for patients who are working out or not, if you're not well hydrated, working out can make you can easily dehydrate from working out because you're losing more water from sweating, and it can make the constipation worse. So staying hydrated is obviously key in the whole process.
Any tips for someone that you would give them, just starting out with something like this, or somebody who's thinking about doing it?
Yes, there's a lot of information that's out there that comes from people who are not necessarily trained to do this. There's a lot of information that's conversation that's taken as medical advice. So the best thing I can tell you is that, number one, you should partner with your physician, your primary care physician, or a nutritionist if you're going to embark on something like this. Not only because it's a completely different lifestyle, it's a completely different change in the way you do things, but also because you want to make sure you're doing. You don't want to put yourself in a dangerous situation. You don't want to, you want to make sure that medically you're an appropriate candidate for this type of diet. So one of the things that I recommend to my patients, and I recently did a blog post on this, is going from a regular diet to a low carb, healthy fat diet or ketogenic diet is a very, very dramatic change. It's a complete 180. And so I offer instructions on kind of going to a clean eating pattern before you embark on the ketogenic diet as a means of kind of transitioning, kind of getting used to just generally making better food choices. So there are some pretty basic rules, like, shopping only the perimeter of the grocery store where all the fresh foods are, not eating anything that's in a box. In my opinion, anything that can sit on a shelf for 2 years and not decompose is not food. That's just, you shouldn't be putting it in your body. It has things in it that makes it not break down over the course of time.
Like
like what?
Cheetos.
Yeah, exactly. Anything that has words you can't pronounce, and anything that has more than 5 ingredients. These are kind of just general rules in terms of starting to incorporate healthier choices, cooking at home instead of eating out, so you know exactly what's going into your food, and minimizing condiments and things that come in a bottle, like dressings and jellies and things that are made and have preservatives and all kinds of thickeners and substances, like I said, that are not even really, they're not even food.
Yeah.
So those kind of simple rules can get you at least on the track towards, having the foundation to start a ketogenic diet, if that's ultimately your goal.
Okay. Now I can see any comments. Does anyone have questions for Alexis before we go? Feel free to write them in here because I'll see them.
I'll kind of take a look and respond as best I can if anybody has any questions after the fact as well. Thing that I just wanted to say, the guidelines, the recommendations that come from the top down, that come from organizations like the American Diabetes Association and the American Heart Association, those are all guidelines that come from science that is really not consistent with this philosophy. I don't want to say it's wrong. I just want to say that this philosophy really is different than the science and the physiology that's used to generate the guidelines that people have been working with for many, many years. So I can't necessarily say that I recommend that everyone do it. This can't really be taken for individualized medical advice. Personally, it's worked for me. I have prescribed it to some patients. I have told some patients that it's not the right diet for them. So I can't stress enough that, just the information that you read and the sources that you see on the internet should not be enough for you to decide to make this a lifestyle change. You really should partner with someone who knows how to guide you through the process. It's getting dark in my yard. I'm sorry.
That's okay. So Mary was wondering, will you lose weight on this diet, or is it to eat healthier?
Oh my God, absolutely. I forgot. I didn't even mention that as one of the key benefits. We've had patients reverse their diabetes, their obesity, their sleep apnea, because as your body is, if the only source of energy that your body has, or I should say the main source of energy that your body has, is fat, it's going to burn the fat quickly that you consume, and then it's going to start to burn the fat stores that you have. The other thing is your body has the ability to produce glucose. Your liver can produce glucose as well. So if your body or your brain needs it, your body will take the carbs and the cholesterol and the sugars, the natural sugars that you put in your body, and make sugar. But it is burning fat, and it is one of the kind of quick and easy things about this diet that I don't like to encourage, because for some people it's slower than others. But really quick and effortless weight loss is one of the main effects of this diet. I mean, I have people losing 40, 50 pounds without exercising. And then when they start to exercise, they even faster results. So we know that obesity is related to, whether it's caused by or a result of, the insulin resistance pattern. We know that it's directly related to diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, all kinds of inflammatory conditions and autoimmune conditions. So if you're obese or overweight, then losing weight should be one of your goals, and this is a great way to do it.
Okay. Any other questions? Feel free to comment here. Before we go, and while we're waiting to see if there's any more questions, I did want to say, so Alexis has developed a signature wellness program called Balance Burnout over the last 10 years of clinical practice. That 27-day program focuses on self-care and achieving balance in 9 different areas of your health. And the program launches in June. Is that right?
I launched for my patients in June in New York. And this summer I'm moving to North Carolina. And so I won't be doing any more live events, but I will be taking the program to a virtual platform where it'll be a private Facebook group. It'll be modules, videos, workbooks, handouts, all kinds of stuff that you can use to guide you through the program, which, like you said, it's about achieving balance in 9 areas because so many of us are burned out physically, emotionally, socially. And if we can work on each of these 9 areas intentionally with purpose and focus and maintain, then we can prevent these times in our life where we're just completely burned out, exhausted, spent, have no energy for enjoying things, have no, time to pursue the things that we like, or even to take care of our health, which obviously, if you're not healthy, you're not doing any of the others. So, it's a program that works. I've seen it work in real life, and I'm excited to test it on my patients and friends in New York, and then to take it virtual in the summertime, likely in July.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on tonight. This was a lot of fun. I feel like we're like hanging out over coffee.
Right? We're like 3,000 miles away from each other.
I know. I really do appreciate it. And you guys, I'm going to post the link to Alexis' Facebook page if you're interested in any of her new program or anything she promotes on her site as well. Feel free to hop over there and give her some love. But otherwise, I guess we'll go ahead and get going. But it was awesome having you. I really appreciate all the awesome information.
Awesome work. You're doing such great work, and it's obvious by all the people who follow you and who you're helping, where you are locally and all over the world. So you're doing awesome work on behalf of all the people who are trying to make our patients make these changes, and we just don't have the time, or whatever the case may be. You're doing the work, of the team. So it's awesome. Keep it up.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.